Shalom, family. This is Yuda. I got a lesson prepared today. You guys, I'm sure you've heard about the planet Nibiru. Yeah. And the only reason I'm doing it is because I'm seeing a lot of our people falling for this distraction. The earth is flat, it has a dome, and according to Torah, it shall not be moved forever. So nothing goes out and nothing comes in. That's for another time. But I was wanting to show you something. This is from somebody named Cosby Shazzy 6274. This is not a debate. This is not a rebuttal, or a rebuke. This is to show how people really think they know what they're talking about. And it just makes my work even harder because obviously they don't do what they really think they're doing research. They're not doing research. I don't know what book this person is reading, but when I'm finished showing you what he says and then my reply, clearly you will see how much in error this person is. He says, I apologize for not being in agreement with you in this point, which I'm okay with that. If you really seek, now he's giving me advice. Now, let's just do something. Let's go to this guy's channel. He's got 2 videos, okay? I don't see any subscribers. Let me check and make sure. No. He's got 2 videos and no subscribers. And this is the guy that wants to give me advice. All right. I apologize for not being in agreement with you in this point. Now listen to the advice that he gives me, which I have all of this and some. If you really seek for the facts, what does he think I'm doing? I encourage you to use Bible Hub or Blue Letter, which I have, the Blue Letter Bible, to research the names of places based on the so-called Hebrew language, not the English translation that deliberately changed the names to hide the truth. Brother or sister, that's exactly what the book you read has done to you. There's many different types of Blue Letter Bibles. Did you know that? It's not just one Blue Letter. There's several versions of Blue Letter Bible. I've seen them all. And you cannot depend on them, all of them. So for the sake of making a point in this matter, take the name Babylon. This name is not found in Scripture according to the so-called Hebrew language. So he speaks Hebrew. The actual name is, I don't read Hebrew, which is pronounced Babel. Now we all know that Babylon was originally in Iraq. This place is in Uganda and known as Babel. Okay? Now, during his research, he says, I searched out other locations which are in the area of Babel or Uganda and found them also in Uganda. In Genesis 13, verse 1, the location which Abraham and Lot went was in the upward direction. He thinks that means southward. That's the problem. The problem with people understanding scripture is linguistics. I just realized why you're struggling so much. What you need to realize is the linguistics the ancient Israelites spoke in those days is not what we think of and speak today. It's not a match. But it did not mean southward in a compass direction. Let me straighten that out for you. And Mamre is still found in the southern part of Africa. So what he's saying is Jerusalem, according to Genesis 13:1, is actually in South Africa. I got one major question, and it's the only one I need to use to shut you down. If Jerusalem was in South Africa, according to Torah, it's supposed to be between the Mediterranean, right? Where's the Mediterranean? In South Africa. It's supposed to be in Canaan. Where's Canaan in South Africa? So anyway, the guy's he's not an arrogant person, so I'm not being arrogant. But he says, this is by no means an attack on you, my brother, but a simple share of information. I don't need this kind of information, brother, with all due respect. This information is no good. If I took this information, I would personally shut my channel down because I would be teaching false narratives. So here's my reply. This is a critical distortion that needs to be addressed with both ancestral clarity and textual precision. The belief that Jerusalem is in South Africa often stems from a misinterpretation of biblical phrases like went up from Egypt, Genesis 13:1, which is what he's dealing with incorrectly, combined with modern overlays that confuse spiritual elevation. Y'all, these are key words, confused with spiritual elevation with compass direction. But here's the facts. Went up is covenant language. It's not geographic south. In Hebrew, Allah means to ascend, often toward a place of covenant or worship, not southward. Jerusalem is always up in Scripture. Even when traveling north, south, east, or west, it's always up. It don't matter which direction you travel in. It's a spiritual and topographical high place. So Abraham's journey from Egypt to the hill country between Bethel and Ai in Genesis 13:3 is northward and upward, not south into Africa. This is what they miss. Like I said, I don't know what book he got his research from, but clearly he did not understand any of it, and it's possible the book was misleading too. This is why I don't want your advice, respectfully, because I can see your error. So why would I take that kind of advice when I know better? I'm not going to argue with you about it. If you don't like the information, just trash it and move on. So here's why South Africa doesn't fit. There are no biblical text places Jerusalem in Africa. None. No biblical text places Jerusalem in Africa. The land of Canaan is consistently described as west of the Jordan, bounded by Lebanon. Where is Lebanon in South Africa? The Negev. Where is the Negev in South Africa? And the Mediterranean. Where is the Mediterranean? in South Africa. Bethel and Ai are real archaeological sites in the Levant. Is the Levant in South Africa? It is a real archaeological sites in the Levant, not South Africa. Abraham's altar locations are traceable and consistent. The claim often arises from Afrocentric reinterpretations that seek to reclaim biblical geography, but they must be tested by the Torah, not emotions or colonial backlash. So the belief in a South African Jerusalem is not just geographic error, it's a displacement of covenant orientation. It replaces sacred elevation with colonial compass logic. So I told him, you should really be careful with your interpretations and research. I can spot 1,000,000 holes in your interpretations. And I ended it like he did. Kind regards. All right, so let's get to the lesson. What is the lesson? Nibiru, the great Babylonian golden calf. Yeah, that's right. It is a same theology that happened at Mount Sinai when they built the golden calf. Let's get into it. The concept of Nibiru is not rooted in Torah, nowhere. Ancestral cosmology or any scriptural witness. It's a modern myth that's built on pseudoscience and fear, not covenant truth. So why Nibiru is a hoax according to Torah? Torah cosmology is domed, not planetary. The earth is flat and it has a dome. It says so in the book. Genesis chapter 1 describes a firmament dividing waters above and below. The earth is fixed, immovable, and enclosed, not orbiting, not vulnerable to rogue planets. Psalms chapter 104 verse 5. He established the earth upon its foundations. It shall not be moved forever. The luminaries, the sun, the moon, the stars, are placed inside the firmament, not in deep space. The structure excludes the possibility of a wandering planet like Nibiru entering or disrupting the Creator's creation. Nibiru is a Babylonian overlay. The name Nibiru comes from Akkadian text, not Hebrew. It was popularized by Zechariah Sitchin, who used non-Torah sources to claim it was a hidden planet tied to alien visitations. These ideas are not found in Genesis, Jubilees, Enoch, or any other priestly scroll. Do you really think that if this was true or these were facts, that our Creator wouldn't tell us about it? But they're not found anywhere. None of the priestly scrolls. It's a part of a fear-based narrative that distracts from covenant preparation and sacred timekeeping. Torah prepares us for judgment through covenant, not cosmic collisions. Torah warns of heavenly signs, but they are luminary-based: eclipses, darkened sun, moon, star movements, not rogue planets. You've never seen that in Torah. The remnant is called to restore priesthood, sacred time, and tribal order, not chase planetary myths. Desolation and judgment come from covenant violation, not planetary invasions. Nibiru is not Torah. It's a Babylonian myth dressed up in fear. The Nibiru narrative and others like it is part of a broader distraction agenda designed to pull the remnant away from covenant restoration and sacred timekeeping. It's not just confusion, it's engineered confusion. Who or what is behind the Nibiru agenda? Babylonian disinformation. The name Nibiru comes from the ancient Akkadian text, not Hebrew. It was revived by Zechariah Sitchin, who blended Babylonian myths with speculative science and alien lore. This is Babylon repackaged, designed to replace Torah cosmology with planetary chaos. Babylon always replaces order with confusion. Nibiru is just another golden calf. Scientific priesthood of the West, the scientific priesthood of the West refers to the cultural elevation of scientists and technocrats as moral and intellectual authorities, replacing traditional religious figures in guiding society's values, decisions, and worldviews. Modern science, especially astrophysics, has become a priesthood of beliefs, pushing heliocentrism, infinite space, and planetary fear. Nibiru fits into the system as a fear-based prophecy substitute. It's a counterfeit to Torah warnings. It keeps people watching the skies for doom instead of restoring the Sabbath, priest days, priesthoods, and tribal order. This is psychological warfare against us, the remnant. And I know too many people falling for this mess. Even if Nibiru was real, it could not enter into our sphere. The dome stops that. These myths are seeded to distract, derail, disempower those walking or waking up to the truth. They create false urgency and panic instead of preparation. They replace covenant shielding with survivalist paranoia. Nibiru is not a planet, it's a distraction. It's Babylon's attempt to replace sacred time with cosmic fear. The remnant must reject planetary overlays and return to the firmament, the luminaries, and the covenant calendar. Our protection is not in bunkers, it's in obedience. This is why you don't see our people building bunkers. This is the reason we didn't have the means to build bunkers. He wouldn't allow it. You know why? Because he needs for you to understand how will you be protected? Through obedience. So if you obey, you don't need a bunker. Nibiru is a Babylonian golden calf, crafted to seduce the remnant into fear, confusion, and false worship. It's not just a myth, it's a spiritual decoy. Nibiru as a Babylonian golden calf, created from Babylonian myth. Just like the golden calf was shaped from Egyptian influence, Nibiru is shaped from Babylonian cosmology. It replaces the firmament and fixed luminaries with the wandering planets and alien lore. It demands attention, fear, and belief, just like the golden calf demanded worship. It's designed to distract, and that's exactly what it's doing. I know some people used to be on my channel. I still see them. They're teaching this crap. While we restore sacred time and priesthood and tribal order, Nibiru pulls others into the sky watching and survivalism. It replaces obedience with obsession and its covenant with cosmic speculation. It's false mediator pretending to deliver judgment while completely ignoring Torah. Torah response to golden calves, Exodus chapter 32, the people made a golden calf when they lost sight of Moses' instruction. Today, people chase Nibiru when they lose sight of Torah's calendar, priesthood, and prophetic rhythm. Yah's response, judgment, separation, and restoration through the remnant. Nibiru is not a planet, it is a golden calf. It's Babylon's attempt to replace Torah with terror. The remnant must reject this planetary idol and return to the firmament, the luminaries, and the covenant calendar. Our shield is obedience. It's not fear. The fables of Nibiru began in 1976 with Zechariah Sitchin's book, The 12th Planet. Some of you might have read that book. Mesopotamian texts to claim a rogue planet named Nibiru, this modern myth has no foundation in Torah or ancestral cosmology. So the timeline of Nibiru hoax, ancient Babylon used it from 2000 to 500 BCE. Nibiru Akkadian crossing was a term for celestial transition, possibly linked to Jupiter or the equinox, not a planet. In Babylonian cosmology, it was associated with Marduk, the chief deity, and it was used symbolically, not as a real object. So modern day rebirth in 1976, Zechariah Sitchin, a journalist and self-taught reader of Sumerian, published The 12th Planet. That's the book. He claimed Nibiru was a hidden planet that orbits the sun every 3,600 years and is home to alien beings called the Anunnaki. Sitchin's interpretations were rejected by scholars, but they did gain traction in conspiracy theories or circles. Then the doomsday popularity, 1995 to 2012. I know y'all remember this. Internet forums and fringe theorists began linking Nibiru to end-time prophecies, claiming it would collide with Earth. This myth peaked around 2012, tied to false interpretations of the Mayan calendar, to scientific rejection. Even NASA, which is the biggest liar on the planet, even NASA and other astronomers have repeatedly confirmed Nibiru does not exist. This is no gravitational evidence of such a planet. There is absolutely none. Torah-based clarity, Nibiru is not in Torah. It is a Babylonian golden calf repackaged through modern pseudoscience. The Most High gave us a domed earth, fixed luminaries, and covenant warnings, not planetary panic, and nothing comes in and nothing goes out. Shalom. Oh, and remember this guy. Let me see. Who was this guy? Anyway, the guy that made that comment about the error that I was supposed to have made when I said Jerusalem is not in South Africa. Listen, y'all. If Jerusalem was in South Africa, you would have to put Lebanon there. You would have to move the Mediterranean Sea. You would have to move Canaan, which is Jerusalem. And you would have to move other cities that's nearby. Jordan, you'd have to move Jordan. None of that's in South Africa, but the Torah specifically landmarks all these places around Jerusalem. The problem is, people, is linguistics. That's the problem. That's the reason most people that read the book can't understand it, because they haven't realized yet that they did not speak back then the way we speak today. They didn't even think back then the way we think today. This is why I tell y'all, pay attention to the wordings and the context. Shalom.